Hello, everyone. So I thought I'd just make a quick video to talk about how knowing type can help you in your personal growth and development. And I think I'm going to do a bit of a series in this, just each time pointing out something particular to type theory, especially socionics, that can be incredibly helpful to people who want to learn, grow, and develop themselves, for people for whom type is a starting point for a journey of that personal growth. I think type is incredibly useful for this when done correctly. When it's not done correctly, it can be very superficial. It can be just a series of compliments, almost horoscopy about your type, which you might find yourself very positively relating to, but not necessarily being given the things you need to really grow and develop. Now, one of the things which socionics I think does very well here is differentiating between strength and value. Now, what do I mean by strength and value? By strength, I mean when you do this particular thing well. You can take in information about this thing, and you can process it information. You can make decisions with that information quite confidently, and then apply those decisions appropriately to the situation you find yourself in. And if you're not strong, you are weak at it. So you won't do that so well. You won't be able to apply that information effectively in the particular situation you find yourself in. You might get better with practice, of course, but it's never going to be an area of innate strength, rather something you could build out through experience. But then there's also value. So, what is value? It's completely different from strength, and that's what's so important that socionics does. Valuing something has nothing to do with how strong or weak you are at it. It's about whether you like and appreciate that kind of thing, or if you don't like and don't appreciate that kind of thing. So, yeah, what that means, because they're different things, is that you could be strong at something and you might value it. But you might also not value it. You could be strong at something and not value it. Similarly, you could be weak at something and not value it, or you could be weak at something but actually value it. That is the basis of the four blocks which make up what in sociologics we call Model A. We talk about the ego block, the super ego block, the super id block, and the id block. You can see my videos on each type explain correctly, where I go through every single type and go through every single block for every single type, showing the areas where people, uh, where each type areas to be strong, where they value it, where they are weak at something and don't value it, where they're weak at something but do value it, and where they're strong at something but don't value it. Very, very useful. Why, though, is this so useful? How does this, why is this relevant to the topic of type for personal growth? Well, knowing, first of all, what you're good at and also what you're bad at is going to be pretty useful for personal growth because you're going to know, okay, how can I improve? I'm good at these areas, but these areas which I'm not good at. But here's the step further. You could just assume that all the areas that you're weak at, you're actually going to want to develop. That's not necessarily the case. This is where value comes in. This is where you can say, this area, yeah, you're awful at, but also you hate it and you hate having to deal with it entirely. So, in a coaching conversation, let's say, I'd hardly be putting more pressure on the person to have to develop in this area. Instead, I'll be coming up with solutions by which they can avoid having to deal with this area. Maybe having someone else take up the flak in this area. Maybe they will value it more or be better at handling it than they are. But when we talk about areas which are still weak, but now valued, well, that's going to be ripe um, opportunity for personal growth and development. Because here, they're not strong, but they value it and they want to get better at this area. That is what I'd say to be the key area to focus on in a conversation around personal growth, while also avoiding a conversation which just puts on more and more non intrinsic expectations on the person. right? More and more, you should do this even though you don't like it, which is not what they're going to respond well to, not going to find nearly as meaningful in a coaching conversation. So, yeah, that's why I'd say is one of the first very important things that socionics brings to allow you to use type as a foundation for your personal growth and development, distinguishing between strength and value. Now, if you look at the Myers-Briggs type indicator, they don't make this distinction. They assume that the things which you're strong at, you also value. They assume the things which you're not strong at, you don't value. This is one of the big difficulties of the Myers-Briggs type indicator, and why they use that vague term preference. Preference is such a weasel word in the typology world because it could easily be interpreted as preferring in terms of a strength, like my right hand is stronger than my left. That would be a kind of preference. But a preference in terms of value instead of strength would be preferring, well, cheese and onion crisps as opposed to salt and vinegar crisps. And that's got nothing to do with strength, it's everything to do with value. So, yeah, avoid words such as prefer, which conflate strength and value. Instead, go to typology systems which render strength and value distinct, and that will unlock very ripe potential for you to be able to move towards personal growth with type as your starting point. Thank you very much, everyone. If you would like to have a conversation around your own personal growth and development, please consider emailing me at worldsocionics@hotmail.com with a title of coaching. I can do coaching, and I'll be very happy to coach any of you, utilizing my socionics knowledge to bring out your underlying strengths and capabilities to enable you to travel in the path of your own self-development and growth. So yes, if you're interested in that possibilities, please feel free to email me. Anyway, thank you everyone. All the best. Bye bye.